Hey everybody, it's January. I'm a few days late on posting my book haul vlog, but I wanted to get it in because I had been piling all over my room and needed to get this done because it was something I wanted to do in December and just time got away from me. But I have all the books in piles to help me get through this quickly because I tend to be long-winded with the vlogs and it just makes the process go faster if I speak quickly. So I can ramble on because I get excited about the books I have and little stories that go with them, but I also have notes because I've been told that will help me. So the first pile I'm going to go through is what I'm calling random. So I took a class at the library, which my mom and I have been doing a lot lately just to fill the time and do fun things. We like crafts and stuff. Sorry. So this was a book that was lying out and I made off with it. If she watches the video, she'll know that I took it and then we'll go from there. But Walden, if you can see that, it's just, you know, no dust jacket, but I really like the typography on the, I don't know if it's gonna focus, but I really like the typography on the binding, and anything that has to do with Walden or Thoreau, without even reading the back of it, I usually just take it and run. But that's now in my to be read pile. Then I ordered online the Spiderwick books. I've read these a long time ago, but as my sister's getting ready to move out, we've been dividing my mom's books, which is sad and fun and probably causes no end of silly fights, but that's how we are with books. And so she laid claim to this set, and so I'm starting to build my own set. And so I have book 2 and book 3 now. And then I have Peter Pan now. Well, kind of. I ordered this for someone at the shop and then they didn't initially change their mind. They just never came and picked it up. And so I just decided for now I'm keeping it until I hear from them because I didn't realize that it's part of a series of Scribner books that I already collected. And well, I did know this part. I did know that it was illustrated by Trina Sharp Hyman, and she's one of my favorite children's illustrators because she reminds me of Howard Pyle, who's also one of my favorites. So there's that awesome edition of Peter Pan. Pyle is going to be my trip to pick up, well, not my trip. This is like my date night with my brother because my parents were going to something and my brother goes to school in the city. So I went to an art supply store that happened to have books and I got this. It is The Treasure Chest, The Time Traveling Adventures of the Robbins Twins. And this one's about Clara Barton. And all of the other ones had to do with different points in history. The reason I got it was because it sort of reminded me of Spiderwick Chronicles. And then it also reminded me of William Joyce's illustrations and even the Meet the Robinsons. The movie, the illustrations do. And so I was like, let's just get this and see what kind of fun it is. And then because I've been trying desperately to get caught up on Book Riot podcast. Yes, I'm listening from the beginning because I originally subscribed and then I just sort of let it fizzle out, and then I decided towards the end of 2014 that I wanted to start listening to it again. So I'm currently on episode 38, I think. But today I think I listened to 2 or 3 episodes today. So I'm binging on that, sort of like Netflix. They did a Christmas special. I believe they did it in 2014 too, but I'm in 2013. They did a Christmas special about recommendations. This one came up and I thought it sounded interesting, and so when my brother and I went on our date to Barnes & Noble and Starbucks, I picked this up and I started reading it while we were there. I got, I think, 14 or 15 pages in and I haven't picked it back up yet just because things have been busy and I was trying to finish up books before the end of the year. And it was very interesting so far. I've never read anything by Stephen King, but his quote in it's not necessarily inside jacket. Oh, by the way, here's the book, The Passage by Justin Cronin. But then you see how it's like, inside is a picture. Well, then there's all these quotes, and only specific authors usually draw me in. Like, this one has one about Oprah, and yeah, that's a make or break, but not a make or break it for me, but Stephen King, who I've never read but I highly respect. He has a quote that says, "Read this book and the ordinary world will disappear." So that was enough to draw me in, and now I own it. It's a really heavy, solid book for a paperback. And I really like that one. They decided to do that paperback version, so I need to get this going again. I don't usually read the backs of books because they give away too much. So I judge books on their covers, or I just go by recommendations that sound interesting. My understanding is it has something to do with vampires. That's what I'm going to tell you. A random pile. This is because I own a bookstore. We are constantly looking for books, and so we usually get first pick of what we find. And my sister, this was from a shopping spree that she went on, and she was going to keep it, but then when she told me what it was about, I did the pouty face and asked if I could keep it. So it's High Bloods by John Ferris. I've never read anything by him, but it's about werewolves, and I like werewolves. I like to think I'm a werewolf, but I'm not. So this should be interesting. I also like it when they call werewolves something else other than werewolves, and they use the word lichen on the back. So yes, I did read the back of this one just a little bit, but I'm ready to read this one too. Oh, and look, Stephen King and Richard Matheson are on the back. Name dropping. So on occasion you have to give up books that you own for customers because you can't find them in the time frame that you need to. So I had purchased this book a while ago when I was in Ohio and had to give it up for a customer. Fine by me. But it's on a reading list that I'm trying to read all of from Hannah. I'm gonna botch her last name, I'm really sorry. Brenchner. I really respect her, and so I have almost collected all the books on her list, and I finished one of them last month. So slowly but surely I'm gonna get through the books. This is another one on her list that I had to give up for a customer, but my sister-in-law's mother, whom I refer to as Mama Marshall, she gifted this to me because she heard about me giving away my copy and was like, "Oh, you can't give away your copy." So I now own again, which I've been told that I cannot give this copy away, 1000 Gifts by Anne Voskamp. So I now have this. I'm not really a nonfiction reader, but this list has a lot of nonfiction on it, and I'm just learning to broaden my horizons. So we placed a big order in November, but it didn't get here till December, and I have that same case because we placed another order and it won't get here until this month, but that's okay because that just adds to my book haul for this month. But these are all books that I couldn't live without. So Canterbury Tales, Geoffrey Chaucer, and this is also illustrated by Trina Sharp Hyman, which is 100% the reason why I got this. And I seriously, you know, I think you should go, and if you just Google her name, you'll see her illustrations. They're gorgeous. This one is obviously not the original Canterbury Tales, but there we go. I also picked up from this order, I picked up book one and book 3. So this is Catherine, I really like the way she spelled her name too. Kudos to your parents for being cool spellers. Catherine M. Valenti. She did these, The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making. And a few years ago, well, in 2013, when I originally started listening to Book Riot's podcast, they recommended this on the podcast, and I bought it as a gift for a young girl I knew, and her parents were really thrilled with it, and I had never read it, which I try really hard not to give books away that I haven't read, but in this case I had a good recommendation, so I gave it away. But then I never read it and I didn't obtain it, but now I have book 1. I'll have to do some research. I think this is book 3. I didn't get book 2 because I only had it in paperback, and I didn't want to have one or two in hardback and then one in paperback. It just throws off the decor. I was super psyched to get, you can be jealous, it's okay, Humans of New York. Started following Brandon's on Facebook earlier this year, and just hugely inspiring with photography and just the honesty of these people that he photographs. And I knew I had wanted to get his book and just decided to look for it when we were ordering to see if we could get it for a good price, and lo and behold, they had it. Can't wait to just, I don't feel like this is a book you read. I feel like it's a coffee table book that you put out and sort of over time you. So got this. Then he posted a video, like a YouTube video on Facebook about his children's book that he published with his micro fashions that he does, and that's adorable, and I get to see it when I went on my date with my brother to Barnes & Noble, and I would really like to own that one too. And then I also got, I can't wait to read this one. I've read clips of it and seen clips of the video, and I've actually given this book away a couple of times. Bad me, I know, another book I haven't read and yet I give it away. So it's Neil Gaiman's Make Good Art speech, and it has really cool typography throughout. I like that word, so I'm going to use it a lot, and plus I do like typography. And just the layout is awesome. So I wanted to own a copy, and I was able to get a few copies for the shop. So this is an excellent gift to give, in my opinion, during graduation time. But you can give it any time too. I know a friend that we gave it to recently who's just going through a rut in life, so we gave that to them, and hopefully it encourages. Then I got book 3 in Michelle Cooper's series, the Fitzborns. Yes, Fitzborns. I said it right. No, Fitz Osborns at War. I have not read this one, but I have read book 1 and 2. And I fell in love with A Brief History of Montgomery because very reminiscent of Dodie Smith's I Capture the Castle. And then I wanted to own them, and now I have, the frustrating thing is that I have this one in hardback and the second one hardback, but I had the first one in paperback because I'm desperate to find a matching cover for the hardback, and it's completely different. That's another rant for another video another day. But I have book 3 now. So my sister and I collect a lot of books that we deem books about books. I have one of my shelves back here is part of the books about books that I own, and then I have more over there because I ran out of room over here. So this is to add to that. It's under the covers and between the sheets. Clever title. The inside story behind classic characters, authors, unforgettable phrases, and unexpected endings. It's by C. Alan Joyce and Sarah Jansen. I'm looking forward to reading this, and it looks like it's gonna be a quick read, and it's got that, like, can you hear it? Like, I don't know, like the hardback, but not the hardback. Do you know what I mean? Because it doesn't have a dust jacket. Anyways, this is another one because not only do we collect like books about books, but books about writing too. So this sort of falls in both. And I 100% fell in love with the cover first because it's got this thing. It's got a typewriter. I know what a typewriter is. A typewriter and a glass of some sort of alcohol and a cigarette. I don't like smoking, but the picture is just cool. And it's the trip to Echo Spring on writers and drinking. You know the old quote about Hemingway and write drunk and edit sober. So the cover kind of reminded me of that. So I'm looking forward to reading this too. So that's all of those from the order. And then the last few that I have are gifts. These were Christmas gifts, or I was the maid of honor at my sister's wedding, so she and my brother-in-law got me presents, and what better presents than books. But these two are first and foremost from my mom for Christmas. Again, I keep name dropping with Book Riot here, but they were talking in one of their episodes about justoneBook.org, or I need to look that up. I'll put it in the notes, or I'll flash it across the screen so that you know what I'm talking about. But they were talking about Joel Walton's book, among others. And I thought it sounded really good, so I went about trying to find a copy that I could purchase quickly and cheaply because I really wanted to read it, which I still haven't, but And for some reason it prompted me to look up in my catalog of books. Yes, I catalog all my books on Library Thing. And I discovered I already owned it. So when I went to look for went to look for that book, I came across these two that are both by her, and I thought, I would like to own these, so I asked for them for Christmas. And the first one definitely fits within the books about books category. It's what makes this book so great. And it's my understanding that she blogged for a year about various books that she was reading and her experiences. Yeah, and she talks about all kinds of science fiction writers. Pamela Dean, Paul Anderson, Susanna Clarke, Ursula K. Le Guin, all kinds. There's more on here that I recognize, but those are ones that stand out to me. So I can't wait to read that. It's a nice big one. I think this would be more like a devotional, like you could read one a day or a couple a week instead of just sitting and taking it all in at once. And then her other book, Tooth and Claw, which is a dragon book. That's about all I know. And again, it has a Jane Yolen quote on the back, which I didn't know that when I was purchasing it, like looking at it online. And then also has Kelly Link. If you like Kelly Link, I've never read anything by her, but I know who she is. So I'm looking forward to this one. I like this cover way better than the other one. The other one was just sort of weird looking, but I really like this one. Okay, and then I got 2 books as gifts from Eliza and Brandon. And the first one was Mouston Abbey. This is a riot. I also have Downton Tabby as well that I got a couple years ago, but this is adorable. And Downton Abbey starts Sunday. Okay, so this one is, I did scream when I got it. I've already mentioned that the reason I like Trina Sharp Hyman is because she reminds me of Howard Pyle. So they shocked the socks off of me and got me this. It is heavy. You can't tell how big it is, but it's like probably a foot and a half. Yeah, I mean, it's big. And it's Howard Pyle's Book of the American Spirit. I got this from one of my favorite bookstores in the city, and the funny thing is that every time I go to his bookstore, I look for Howard Pyle books. The original are better. Whenever they publish he has a version of Robin Hood, and whenever they republish it, they don't publish it with his illustrations, which seems stupid because he wrote it, so why wouldn't they include his illustrations? So I just love his illustrations, and he also did paintings. This was published, this edition is a 1923 edition, but just Google Howard Pyle. I like his pen and ink way, way better than I do his paintings, though his paintings are gorgeous too. He was a contemporary of N.C. Wyeth, and you can tell that N.C. Wyeth drew a lot of inspiration from Howard Pyle. And even Andrew Wyeth, who was N.C. Wyeth's son, has that same sort of flavor when you look at his stuff. But yes, definitely this was the treasure of the month. I also got several galleys. They're ebooks. I don't know on book haul vlogs if you're supposed to mention galleys or not. I don't even know guidelines. I need to go back on and read the guidelines. It's been forever since I decided to get back on the galleys and look at them. But I did get several galleys. I need to get on reading those. Those are all on my Kindle right now. And let's see. And I came across Oyster. Ha 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 ha. That thing is addicting. Book Riot again. But I've been on Oyster. It's amazing. Everybody says, they're Netflix for ebooks. Totally true. I keep adding and adding. I'm so excited because I find books that I want to read, have wanted to read for a long time, that are either not sure if I want to own them or just difficult to find. So I found several of those that I'm going to work on reading, and it's a really reasonable price. You can do a free month trial. I can also drop a special link down below free to use. They didn't sponsor. I love the site, so I'm telling you about them. And that's where I've been spending a lot of my reading time there too, because I can do it on my phone, which then makes you like pray for trains and stop traffic, which is, trains are easier to come by than stop traffic where I live. So trains, lots of trains. I already started my January pile, even though I promised I would not buy, I would start saving my money more than buying, but that hasn't happened yet. I finished 2014 with 46 books. Oh yeah. And I already set my reading goal on Goodreads, so you can go check that out and you can follow along and all that jazz. I have my notebook for the year that I'm going to start. Well, I've had this notebook for a long time, but I'm deciding to use it as what my mother likes to call media notebook, which just keeps track of everything that you do in the year. So I'm gonna write down my books. My brother came up with a movie challenge for us, so I'll be keeping track of that in here. Probably gonna do other notes of different things that happen within the year. Speaking of challenges, so far I have 3 reading challenges within that are gonna be within the Goodreads challenge. Two book ones that, one came from my friend Devin, the other one came from Eliza, which I think she said came from Book Riot. I'll be sharing those on my blog soon because I wanted to create a graphic for one of them so that we can pass it out at the shop and share it on Facebook, etc. So I'm really excited about those because I feel like it's going to branch me out into realms of reading that I'm not used to and help me take from my own shelves more, because I have a lot of books, but I just like to buy and buy and buy and buy and not read what I buy. I think every bibliophile's in tune with that problem, if you want to call it a problem. I think it's normal, right? I also talked about the movie challenge, which I can drop a graphic for that too, and I think that's gonna be fun too if you like movies. My brother made it because he was inspired by the reading challenges that we were showing him, and he's going to be participating in the reading challenges as well. And then just to finish it up, I decided to work on my library thing catalog. I hadn't been cataloging my books because my new books that I keep getting, because it was a way to keep track of them, to know which ones would go in the vlog and which ones would not. Because if you could see all the little like piles sprouting up all over my room, you'd understand that there's mass chaos in here. And so then in light of that, I decided I was going to export my library thing catalog into Excel and start going through them book by book. Yes, I'm a geek. Or not a geek, I guess, I like numbers. I really do. But I'm also okay being called a geek, no problem. But I know people get like weirded out about the incorrect definition for that. So anyways, so I started going by my books one by one, highlighting them and keeping track of the number, because library thing doesn't like, let's say you have a box set and that box set might not have individual ISBNs, then you catalog it and it's one book. So it doesn't, I have a word but I can't think of the word, it doesn't correctly numerate them. So instead of 4 books, you have 1. So I was fixing that on my spreadsheet too. But in the process of that, I found over 30 books in my room, aside from the piles I had that I already knew weren't cataloged. 30 books that I've had, you know, over the years. Some that I remember having for at least, 5 or 6 years. And they weren't cataloged, so either I forgot or my books have started to mass produce amongst each other, which I wouldn't put it past them. They usually lecture me too about not reading them, so if they could mass produce, definitely, yeah. Anyway, so I'm finished with all the books in my room of inventorying those. So I have about 900 just in my room, and I have to go upstairs next, which I know there's way more than that upstairs. And so in the meantime, I have to get to cataloging, updating my catalog. So I'll put my library thing down below. You can see that too, about what I own and such. You'll also get to see the embarrassing number of to be reads I have, versus how many I've read. But I have read a lot of books, just not a lot of what I own. So I think that's all I have to say tonight. Video was way longer than I intended. I apologize. I will get better at this, I promise. I hope it's clearer this time. I'm learning. I'm asking people advice. Comment, let me know, share your reading challenges. If you have advice too, that works. And if you have protocol that I should be following with book haul vlogs, I cannot say vlog. To save my life, I cannot say vlog in a sentence. I can say it by itself, but I can't say, yeah, anyways. So, anything you want to say, comment. Love to hear from you guys. And I'm gonna go try and get this uploaded. See you next time.